On the streets of Mexico City, the signs are clear. Gringo, go home. My culture is not your trend. Protests, some even turning violent, are taking aim at the Americans and other foreigners who have flocked to the city. The anger is real. It's pointed squarely at the so-called digital nomads, remote workers from the U.S. who locals say are driving a wedge right through the heart of their historic neighborhoods. But what if the real problem isn't the people they're protesting, but their own politicians and wealthiest citizens? On the surface, the anger makes perfect sense. Since the pandemic, Mexico City has seen a huge influx of American remote workers. And with well over 1 million U.S. citizens now living in Mexico, they're drawn in by a lower cost of living while still earning U.S. dollars. Locals will tell you this has completely transformed beloved neighborhoods like Condesa and Roma, with traditional tortillerias being replaced by Palate Studios and English language cafes. The most obvious hit is on housing. Landlords chasing bigger profits are flipping long-term apartments into short-term Airbnbs. In some areas, rents have jumped dramatically. You have families who have lived in these neighborhoods for generations suddenly being priced out. It looks like a classic story of economic displacement, a modern, digital form of colonization. But here's the thing. That anger, as real and painful as it is, might be pointed at the wrong people. When you dig into the economic and political forces actually at play, blaming the average American digital nomad for a citywide housing crisis just doesn't add up. The gringo is an easy, visible target, but they're a symptom of the disease, not the disease itself. The real story is way more complicated, and it involves decisions made much closer to home. First, you have to look at policy. The housing crisis didn't just start when the first digital nomad opened their laptop in a Condesa cafe. For years, Mexican government policies have put serious limits on new home construction. One economist pointed out that nationwide home prices shot up by 247% between 2005 and 2021, a trend that was well underway before the recent wave of foreigners. On top of that, local governments have practically rolled out the red carpet for this exact situation, signing deals with companies like Airbnb to pull in more remote workers, and the money they spend, often without putting basic protections like rent control in place to shield local tenants from the predictable fallout. Second, let's be honest about the neighborhoods at the center of this storm. Places like Roma and Condesa weren't exactly bastions of working-class affordability before the foreigners arrived. For years, they've been some of the priciest and most exclusive districts in Mexico City, already gentrified not by Americans, but by Mexico's own upper middle class. While the recent rent hikes are absolutely pushing out remaining long-term tenants in a painful way, the idea that these areas were full of average workers before being displaced by a software developer from California isn't the full picture. The displacement is real, but for many, it's just the final stage of a process that started long ago. Third, this isn't just a Mexico U.S. thing. It's happening all over the world. Major cities, from Lisbon and Barcelona to Berlin and Bangkok, are dealing with the exact same pressures. Capital, especially with the rise of remote work, flows to places where it can get the most value. This creates tension everywhere, not just in Mexico City. To frame this as a unique act of American imperialism is to ignore the massive global economic shifts that are reshaping cities worldwide. The American in Mexico City is often playing the same role as the German in Lisbon or the Brit in Thailand. And maybe the most important question is, who is really getting rich here? It's not the American paying rent. The ones really cashing in on the soaring rental prices are the property owners, often wealthy Mexican landlords and investment firms. They are the ones choosing to evict long-term tenants for more lucrative, short-term Airbnb contracts. The digital nomad might bring the demand, but it's the local property owner who sets the price and reaps the profits from a system with very few protections for renters. Look, the frustration of being priced out of your own city is completely valid. Losing the character and community of your neighborhood is a legitimate grievance. But pointing the finger at the foreign renter is like blaming a single raindrop for a flood. The crisis was really built by a mix of factors, decades of housing policies that couldn't keep up with demand, a global economic system that sends money to the cheapest markets, and local investors who are taking advantage of the situation for their own profit. The American digital nomad is a convenient scapegoat for a problem that has much deeper, more complicated roots. Chanting "Gringo Go Home" might feel good for a moment, but it does nothing to fix the real issues that made their homes so vulnerable in the first place. The real question isn't how to get rid of foreigners, it's how to build a system that puts local people first. So I'm curious what you think. Who do you believe is really to blame for the housing crisis in cities like this? Is it the individual or is it the system? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this video gave you a new perspective, make sure to like and subscribe for more.